Let's
I
see.
started the recording, and welcome to everyone who is watching this recording. We are going, let me share my screen and we can look at the readings for this week. For the fourth Sunday after Epiphany. Um, so, the readings this week, I promised I would start doing this, is give you a little uh, teaser of each reading. The Old Testament reading from the prophet Micah is God takes Israel to court. The epistle is God chose the foolish to shame the wise, and talking about the foolishness of the cross to people who don't understand it. The gospel is the Beatitudes from the Sermon on the Mount. And the psalm is basically some advice on what good things we should do in our lives to, as the psalmist would say, to make us worthy to stand before God. Um, do any of those sound interesting to any of you?
I'd like to look at the Micah one.
Okay.
The reason is the verse in one of the verses in there is one of our favorite ones in the whole Bible. So if you guys don't mind, I don't want to be pushy.
Not at all.
No, I'm perfectly happy. I very much like this reading, especially the end, which is what I'm assuming is where your favorite is.
Yeah, right.
Um, could I invite someone to read this passage?
Which passage is it? Did you say already? I'm sorry,
I'm sorry,
Micah.
I did not say. It
That's
is
okay.
Micah 6, 1 through 8.
Thank you.
I can read it if you want.
Sure, thank you, Leslie.
Okay. I need to switch glasses. Just a minute, I got to switch my glasses. My reading part on Mo's glasses is not big enough. The Lord, it says the Lord's case against the Israel, and this is I'm reading out of the new Living Translation, NLV. Yeah. Anyway, listen to what the Lord is saying. Stand up and state your case against me. Let the mountains and hills to witness your complaints. And now, O mountains, listen to the Lord's complaint. He has a case against his people. He will bring charges against Israel. O my people, what have I done to you? What have I done to make you tired of me? Answer me. And I brought you out of Egypt and redeemed you from slavery. I sent Moses and Aaron and Miriam to help you. Don't you remember my people? Now King Balak of Moab tried to have you cursed, and how Balaam son of Beor blessed you instead. And remember your journey from Acacia Grove to Gilgal, when I, the Lord, did everything I could to teach you about my faithfulness. What can we bring to the Lord? Should we bring him burnt offerings? Should we bow before God Most High with offerings of yearling calves? Should we offer him thousands of rams and 10,000 rivers of oil, olive oil? Should we sacrifice our firstborn children to pay for our sins? No, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires of you: to do what is right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
That's lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do love that final verse. The do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. I think those are, if you need a shorthand, pretty good words to live by.
Yeah.
What's the verse that stands out, Leslie?
8. It says, "No, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires of you, to do what is right or justice, to love mercy,
Right.
and to walk humbly with your God.
The message says he's already made it plain how to live, what to do, what God is looking for in men and women. It is quite simple. Do what is fair and just to your neighbor. Be compassionate and loyal in your love. And don't take yourself too seriously. Just take God seriously.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
I don't know how I feel about the end of that.
Don't take yourself too seriously. I guess that's the humble part, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what he's trying to get at. I don't always agree with the translation and the message. Most of the time, I think it's very good. Um, but yeah, it's one of those interesting things where I think that verse you hear out of context a lot, and it's interesting that it comes in response to this charge that God has against uh, Israel. It's almost like uh, the speaker here is trying to placate God after being caught in trouble.
I like too that it's a rebuttal because he's saying, should I, bring all these thousands of rams and buckets of oil and sacrifice my baby and do all these things? And it's like, how about you're just nice to people? How about you just like live in mercy and justice and humility and like love God? How about we try that and like save the rams and the olive oil and the killing of the babies? Let's just like we don't need a grand gesture. We need a change in your life and your heart, and we need you to actually be just and merciful and humble.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
I think that's it. In some ways, that's so much harder because
So much harder.
I think there are many of us who would say things like, "I would I would die to save this person in my life." And the thing you will often hear with husbands, especially, is I would do anything for my wife. I would die for my wife. And then the response to that is, "Would you do the dishes for her once in a while?"
What's there? What
My
was the?
husband,
It was a Buddhist monk. It's a. I'm like this is like I'm gonna mess it up, but it was like he came to a college class and he was like everybody wants to save the world, but nobody wants to help mom with the dishes. Like like we all want to do a grand gesture, but none of us want to do the everyday stuff that isn't seen, that doesn't make headlines, that's actually helpful to people. But I'm sorry, Leslie, did I cut you off?
no, I don't remember what I was going to say. So, and it probably wasn't that important. So, so anyway, no, that's fine.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
well,
happens to me.
yeah.
But I
No, I was just going to say my husband does do the dishes, especially if I have like somebody over for a meal or something. Then David will just go and do the dishes while I visit. So,
well,
I
that's
mean, I've done all the cooking. He might as well. He can do his side of it.
that is the split in my house is uh one whoever cooks, the other one does the dishes.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a good thing to do. I don't always request that. They're good about clearing the table and putting everything over in the sink, which is a good thing. But
The battle.
so anyway,
But I think, Charity, what you were saying about not wanting to do those small things that don't get noticed, I think that is exactly what is meant by the walking humbly with God. It's doing these sorts of things instead of the big gestures. It's not about doing it for the recognition of it.
Integrity.
Mm-hmm.
have you ever read the book by Brother Andrew? What's the name of it? Oh, I have it right here. The practice of the presence of God. My brother Lawrence, excuse me. Not of anger. It's really a kind of a cool little book. And he's a monk, but he just the idea is just every time you're doing dishes or doing anything, everything you do is just a practice that you're doing this, whatever your job you're doing is, you're doing it for God. And no matter how big a deal it is. And I think a lot of people want recognition, and for whatever things they're doing. And it's like, I think about my niece, and one of the things is that she loves to work with the drama group at the high school, but she's not on stage. She does a lot of the backwork. She's more of a producer type of kind of person, and making the sets, and dealing with props and costumes and stuff like that. And I just always thought, well, that's a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to be out there having the lead role or something. And so.
And for people who have not seen it, Jackie just added in the chat, be a good human, not the loudest, not the grandest, not the one changing the world on their own or gathering all the people. Just be a good human each day, big and small. Your light can shine in the way you blend into the background. Yeah, very well said. I think there's a reason that we talk about the kingdom of God and being in community and relationship with each other, because I think that what our project of church is not one individual. It's something that we're all doing together. I said it before in one of my sermons. One of my professors in seminary always said, church is a group project.
Yeah.
And
it is.
she mostly said that when we complained about having to do group projects in class.
There's always, and when you do group projects, there's always the one who doesn't want to do anything, and then there's the other person who just does everything because he's the kind of person that takes over. And and it's hard to everybody to put in their own weight in it. So yeah.
God loves all of those people equally, and sometimes that's very frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. I love you to death, but you're ticking me off.
And I think that's what we're getting at in the first half of this passage. God saying, I love you to death, but you're ticking me off.
There was a movie called The Perfect Storm. And it was a deadly storm coming, and basically a demon came with it. And there's a priest, and he was talking about Job. And when Job finally said, Lord, why did you do it? Job just the Lord just kind of said, I don't know, there's just something about you that ticks me off. And in the movie, it was funny, but yeah.
I don't know if I agree with the theology of that. I don't know that I believe in a petty God who is just gonna make us suffer because God is a little annoyed at us. But
I think
I feel like that sometimes.
I think bad things start to happen because sometimes bad things bring people back to Jesus, because that's the only person that will be able to help them.
Well,
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't always agree that I'm. I get a little bit on David's side when it comes to theology. A little bit. God doesn't give us the bad things. The bad things happen because we're human, and suffering happens because we're human beings, and God is there to help us through those things. Well, I don't think God, who is a loving and good God, gives bad things. Bad things just happen.
And I
And
think,
but that's my that's because that's the only way that
Yeah.
that I've had to be in the last few years have been able to understand a little bit more of why good and bad things happen to good and bad people, because it just doesn't always make sense.
and I think sometimes God can find us in those bad things. And I think
Yes.
sometimes we are more aware of the presence of God in those things. And I think that we can find God, but I agree with you, Leslie. I don't think that God is causing these bad things, but I do think God can use
He works with them.
circumstances, yeah, in our life.
Yeah, and he works with them and he uses them to show us whatever we need to be shown at the time. But no, I understand. And I understand because I've gone through it where, everything that happens in our lives, God gives us, and I just can't understand why,
Yeah.
God would cause a little baby to have some blastoma or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I just don't see him doing that. It happened. I don't know why it happens, but it does. But you know, it's it just does there, and it might bring somebody. I don't know, to him. I don't know how that would work, but I know, like, sometimes even with my MS and with other things that other people have had to deal with, I've met people that along the way that I would never have met. I have had, you know, a lot, there's a lot of good times. You get a new community, and the communities that you have for whatever area you have, if you have cancer, you go to the cancer clinic and you have a new community there. All of a sudden you have all these cancer patients that are your community all of a sudden, and God can use those times for good. So you don't know what's going to happen. Um,
Yeah.
so
I see that.
Along
and
the
that,
line, hey, what Leslie
yeah,
said, I,
yeah,
Hi, Jackie.
hey, I have lots of issues with being sick. And I agree with I do go to the cancer center and there's a group of people I found. One thing when I was first diagnosed and had brain surgery, I've lost a lot of skills, lots of things I could do. Just I won't be able to do again. Um, and one of the things I've always wanted to do in life, but people scare the crap out of me, is theater. And there's a local theater out here that do improv nights and stuff. And I decided one time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this after I had brain surgery because, dude, at this point, what do I have to lose? Make a fool out of myself? So I started taking these improv classes and I suck and it's ridiculous and it is so fun. And I decided that as many things as I can lose from having a brain tumor, I can decide something I can gain. I can make a decision I can't decide what I'm going to lose. Like I just can't. Uh, so we can sometimes take what we're losing with this horrible crap that happens to us. And I don't know if God's up there like throwing confetti and be like, well, you get a shitty thing and you get a good thing. And who the hell knows what, like, and I will lose my mind if I ever try to figure out why bad things happen to good people. I've come to the terms that I will never figure it out and I need to accept that I will never understand. But maybe in the crap and in the hard times, to try to pick something we can turn from it.
Mm.
To try to, and getting those communities are huge, but they're heartbreaking. From what Leslie said, the brain tumor group, it's called a gray notice. Gray is a color brain tumor. So when somebody passes away, stuff like that, groups are a mixed bag and they're wonderful and they're horrible. But finding God in those moments, I think I said before, I told Father Greg once that I was pissed at God, and he's like, "Oh, okay, so I hear you believe in God still." Okay, well, now I'm pissed at you. Thanks for that. Yes. But I can use that though, right? Like I can get through the pissed, not over it, but through it, right? Like I can get through it and realize I'm still not totally alone, even if it really, really sucks sometimes. And it does, but
Yeah. And God can take it. God can take bait when people are pissed at God.
well, he hasn't left yet, and I get kind of crabby sometimes. So
I
Jackie,
also,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say quickly, I don't know. I will never claim to know everything about God, but I'm pretty sure God is not a cosmic Oprah throwing out stuff.
you don't think that's how it works?
I sure hope not.
I think a lot of our own decisions cause problems too. Sometimes they're of our own making.
Some certainly are. There are others that are a mystery.
Right.
I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, Jackie, just you reminded me so much of, I have a good friend who does a lot of 12-step work, and she tells me all the time, she says, why is not a spiritual question. She's like, why? We don't know. We're not going to know why. She's like, it's just acceptance. She's like, and then the question is, what next?
Yeah. Where do
And
we
I'm
go
like, this
from
thing
here?
happened. It was terrible. Or like someone we know would lose a child. Like, why, God, why would you do? And she'll always come in with, if I'm off on that tangent, she'll just say, why is not a spiritual question. What next?
Yeah. Where do we go from here?
And I'm like, I'm not ready yet to ask what next. And she's like, okay, then you need to just sit and accept. You need to sit and work on acceptance.
Yeah,
And
and that
because
might be a lifelong thing,
it's
right? Like
hard.
I'm far from acceptance, but you just
Yeah, and sometimes you question if you did the right thing to
Mm-hmm.
to do the right. When my sister passed away, and I talked to my brother-in-law, and he said one of the things I'm having a really is did we do the right thing? If we had done something different, if, and he says,
Mm-hmm.
and he had said, no, I can't go there. I have to just accept what happened and try to. I mean, it's hard to move on when you lose a spouse, but
Mm-hmm.
do it. He's learning not to question why or if he had done something different. If it's just, I need to learn to accept it, and it's hard because
yeah.
so
There's time, there's God, there's people, there's time. We don't need to accept today.
Absolutely.
that's true.
Yeah. No, we don't need to accept today. We don't need to do any of it.
Hmm.
It's just when I think, eventually we feel ready, and then those are the things that we can only do the things we can do. Because figuring out why is just not something we
Yeah.
can do, so we're not going to be able to do it.
One of the things I've been struggling with this week is we've been reading Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. And when you talk about everything we do is meaningless, it's just like, okay, we all end up in the same place. whether we're rich or poor, or whether we're, we 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 do things to help the world or not help the world. Whatever we've done is we're still going to end up in the same place. So you might as well enjoy life.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes is a weird one.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what it is.
Well, I am seeing that we have 6 minutes left. Do we want to read something else, or do we want to continue just talking about this one reading?
We could close out with the Beatitudes on Matthew.
Sure, we could, because I think many of us are familiar with these already. So and also, a nice, hopeful thing, I think, is not a bad thing for us to dwell on as we go out into the rest of our weeks. I'll go ahead and I'll read the Beatitudes. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you."
I was listening to that and reading along with you, and a lot of these Beatitudes are what was in Micah. When you go to 6, your hunger and thirst for justice, you got mercy, and bless those who are pure in heart. That means, and I would say you're humble with God. It just, yeah, for those who are humble, they will be inherit the whole earth. It
Right.
just,
Yeah, and I think often that is the authors of the lectionary are trying to do things like that, to have certain themes that come up in more than one of the reading, and that we get that in we didn't read the psalm today, but it's on that same where it's instructions for ways to live our lives in a way that God would will us to.
Go back to the message and read that one.
A couple things that are just interesting about this. I know we actually, in this Bible study last year, read the other Beatitudes when it came up in the lectionary, the Luke version. And one thing that's interesting is this one blesses the poor in spirit. Luke blesses the poor.
Mm.
And I think in Luke, it's just those who hunger and thirst rather than for righteousness. And so there's, in some ways, it's more metaphorical in this version, which is just an interesting difference between the two.
One more spiritual, one more secular.
Yeah, I wonder if Matthew's audience was more well-to-do.
There are those who believe that. Um, but yeah, I have heard this portion of the Beatitudes used to argue that Christians do not need to part with their wealth as long as they are poor in spirit, whatever that means.
Interesting.
I don't understand anyone who wouldn't want to be wealthier in spirit. But
Well,
that could be pride too.
I think you hit on it exactly. That's just what I was going to say. Is that when we were getting back to the conversation about humility, I don't think being poor in spirit means that we are weak in our beliefs. I think it means that we are we are acting humbly and we are willing to. We do not think that we have all of the answers and all of the resources to solve every problem. We are willing to accept that there is nothing that we can do without the help of God and those who um, are here with us.
Humble yourself to wash those dishes.
It's the takeaway.
Yeah.
And not get credit, right?
And being nice to people. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a story about somebody that their foreman or something owed them money and the guy let him slide, yet when the person that was let slide found somebody else, he ripped into him?
Yes, that is. Gosh, I've. This is why we need David, because I bet you he could cite chapter and verse.
No, no. You know what? It's funny that he can recite some chapter and verse, but he has his Bible screen and he can put a word in and it comes right up while he's on, not because he's on his tablet, so he's next to his computer, so he has two screens, so he's working both ways.
So that's how.
So he, as David says, I don't have to know everything. I just have to know where to find it. And that's his way of doing things, and that's fine. But yeah, he just he wasn't feeling that great today. And then when Chris had this problem, and he said, "Well, I'm going to go out. I might as well go do the errands." And he does most of the grocery shopping, so I we were out of milk and a few things, and I thought he's really good about doing that. And when I go, sometimes it takes me longer because I end up wandering. Wandering through the store. I have a list, but my list isn't usually complete. It's like meat. Well, I have to get something to go with the meat. If I buy this meat, then I have to get this side, and but I don't have all those on my list. So then I have to go down and do the other.
If you can't find me, I'm in the toy section. They didn't have those cool toys when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I sometimes think that running errands shouldn't be just like you have to get from one step to the other. Sometimes you just enjoy getting to stroll through the store, and I think
the journey.
Yeah, there's I'll find it at some point. There's a famous author, I do not remember which author it is, but he tells the story of he needed a single envelope to send a manuscript to his editor, and he talks about how he could have just had it delivered to the house, but he instead chooses to go for a stroll, go to the store, buy the envelope himself, and then wander home. Because he ends it with something like, all we humans have to do here on Earth is just fart around, and we should enjoy it.
I think it was Vonnegut.
I think it was Vonnegut. Now, yes, that sounds
Yes.
right. So you're familiar
Yeah.
with that one?
Yeah, it was making the rounds during COVID because we lost those tiny little interactions
Mhm.
where you just go to the store and say hi to somebody and, walk past someone on the street and say hi to them. And it's not like you met someone to have a whole conversation, but we have all these tiny interactions. We're like, hi, how you doing? Cold outside, isn't it? And we need those. We need that. We're social people. It's hard to be isolated. So yeah, but
Yeah,
that's a
those
good
years,
one. Going to get an envelope.
yeah, those years of COVID really messed people up, and it has, and there are still people still have their groceries just do pick up, and rather than going through the store and buying it all, they they send in their list, and because you always see them still doing it at the store when you're going out there. So
That's right. I have my groceries delivered. I have Walmart and Amazon. So I hide out in my little tin can. I have stuff delivered. Basically, the only time I'm
I'm
going
doing
out
Zoom on
is
my. Oh, sorry.
it's
Sorry,
okay.
Dawn.
Go ahead.
My phone is about to die. I doing Zoom on my phone at my mother-in-law's, and I don't have my charger here, so I'm at 2%. So I'm gonna go before I lose the ability to receive emergency texts. But I'll see
okay,
For your
everybody soon.
charity.
All right, thank you.